and I'm running the AC because it's like icky outside and the sun ain't even up yet. But it's the global warming. And we won't talk about that anymore because, frankly, we're still here. The polar bears haven't drowned. The ice caps are still there. But I'm not going into all that. Let's just say it already. They need to just come out and say, look, we're doing this, or we're doing that. And, apparently they're living under the assumption that no news is good news. And no, because you have an entire viewing public. You have fans actually that want to know what the hell's going on. And so far, it's been, how long now since your last episode aired? And if Disney had gone ahead with the deal, it'd be all over the place by now. It'd be on every major tabloid. It'd be on every major paper. Blah blah. Radio Times will be blurting it to the sky. But no, no one has said a word. No one has said a thing. Someone was going on yesterday about what I said about Disney and all that. I said no. The reason why I was calling out about the '96 movie and all that is because people said it was bad and all that because it was Americanized. And of course, I'm like, how was it Americanized? Had a British writer, British director. And then the other on, I talked about Disney's influence on the show. Look, here's the thing. In my opinion, if you're going to do something, just come out and say it. They were telling us for how long that Disney was only going to have advisors on the show. But the more I go back and look over the last two series, there was a lot of advising going on when you sit there and read between the lines. Me personally, I think if you can pull off a quality show, it doesn't matter if you're American, British, Mongolian, or from Wakanda, or I don't care where you're from. I have read some bit about that, about the tribute to Simon. Like I said, we were all very sad, and I couldn't believe it. I thought it was another death hoax. And sadly, I found out very quickly that it was true. Simon was always very kind. Um, like I said, he was one of the very few people who would send me a direct message every year for my birthday. Not some, generic birthday thing you pass out on Facebook posting, which I do appreciate anyway, because at least you made that effort. But yeah, he would send you an instant message every year on your birthday. He was always very fun to talk to. He was always so full of life, which is why it was such a shock, when one day he's gone. But sadly, that's when you get to a certain age, you have to watch all the people that you loved and cared for, especially your, elders, start leaving. And that's a fact of life. Like, I always got along with people who were way older than me better than I did with anyone in my generation. Like I said, I lost a friend back in 2000. I was dating his daughter, but like I said, I considered him a friend, and found out, a while later that he had passed from cancer. That he had gotten Agent Orange when he was in Vietnam. He got exposed to it, and I said I had a lot of friends of mine who were Vietnam vets who passed away since. And look, it's always sad because those people you look up to, you admire, or you call a friend. Like, and also I've recently, this within the last few months, I had somebody I grew up with who was literally lived next door to me. We'd known each other since we were kids. Passed away. And like I said, it's a part of life. You have to deal with it, and you have to move on. Always think of them, always keep them alive in your head. That's what I do. That's how I stay sane. But okay, let's get off the somber note. Let's get to the one of the more somber notes that are out there. The fact that, nobody's talking about what's going on with the show. All we're getting right now is rumors, speculation, and just utter, rumor, total nonsense that people are coming up with. Like I said, all I have right now to tell you is I'm hearing from at least one of my sources that the fact that they're shopping around already is pretty much true. That is true. The one I've heard recently about them talking to Amazon and all that, and Moffat. The second they mentioned Moffat, I knew they were probably full of shit. You know what? That flying ant has been in this damn truck for how many days? In the baking sun. And he's still here. Because there's no other way for them to get into the car. Because I always have all the windows rolled up when I pull into the garage at night. He just damn near bumped me in the eye. Okay, I missed that news. Thank you, Mark. Could you pass me the article on that? Like I said, Okay, now I have to warn you right now. Next week is going to be kind of dicey because this Saturday we definitely won't be here, and the next week is my week vacation for work. I'm going to try to pop in on you next week from time to time, but remember, we're not going to be in the parking lot next week, okay? I just got to warn you all in advance because that's my 1 week's vacation, which used to be 2 weeks, but it's been cut down to 1. The one I saw was more realistic. It was Amazon Prime and Netflix or something like that. And like I said, Amazon Prime would be their best bet because, like I said, look at what they did with Fallout. Probably the best video game. Was a video gat. I was about to say video gat. I call it a video gat. I mean, video game adaptation ever. Automatically renewed for 2 series. Major award winner. No, that ain't going to happen. Like I said, I'm going to hang on to this. I like this Jeep, so I'm going to hang on to it for a while. So, yeah, next week we won't be here. Yeah, I'm going to have to do something with this Jeep because that guy's been in here for like 3 days now. And the windows are up at night, and I pull this thing straight into the garage. But yeah, look at what they did. Let's get back to the show. Look at what they did. Yeah, Amazon did with Fallout. They let the people who were running with this thing at the beginning take charge of it. And we kind of knew it was going to happen because they said, look, you write us a pilot and we'll give you a minimum of 1 season or something like that to start out with. So they were really eager to get their hands on it, Amazon. And it paid off in spades. It's like... Oh, trust me, I'm declaring war on Mr. Flying Ant because he just damn near flew in my eye. It's bad enough he was trying to play with the people on Baldus, my citizens. We might just travel a couple places, but nowhere far. Like I said, we don't like leaving Oreo alone for too long. There's only like one time a year now we go anywhere overnight because Lady G's worried. I don't worry about him because he's a cat. I've had cats who, they're pretty much like, go do what you want. Now, Oreo, on the other hand, you left me for 5 minutes? Where were you? He throws a fit if I go out and get the mail. He's gotten pretty much used to me, going to work. But still, he's used to somebody being there. All right, so back on to Doctor Who. We're still in limbo. Nobody's talking. Nobody's speaking. Oh, that's right. And Russell T. Davies just happens to announce that he's taking a break from his Doctor Who magazine column. Well, yeah, he is kind of our fur baby. £12 fur baby. That's what he is. All right, see, the bots are here. Ha ha. How long was my jail time? I've never spent a day in jail because I was raised correctly and taught to respect others. That's right, and he's also working on another show. Thank you for bringing that up. He was just showing some screenshots of one of the title pages or something like that off one other project he was working on Instagram. Thanks for reminding me of that. And so, like I said, and then the guys, from Doctor Who Unleashed have already announced their services are available, and there we should have known. And all I saw was this picture. It looked like it was a cover sheet for a script or something like that. And I just took a quick glance and kept going because I'm also following a few other people that are tied to Bad Wolf. And like I said, nobody's talking. They're from Turkey, but is it truly Istanbul, not Constantinople? Okay. Greetings from wherever you are from. There's a lot of people out there who are making freak out videos about retaliation from Iran. I'm like, the only Air Force they had was a bunch of surplus, I think, Russian planes and maybe a couple things we sold them back in the day, and those are long gone probably. We just took out their nuclear weapon capability. But I do expect there'll be, I'm still a little bit worried about terrorist, retaliation, but that's become a daytime, everyday thing here. Everybody's crazy on this planet. What do you expect? Well, like I said, I don't talk about politics if I can avoid it, so we're here to talk about Doctor Who, okay? And I've only got a couple more minutes before I got to run inside. So as you all know, the show's in limbo. It's looking more and more like Disney backed out and got the hell out of there. We, like I said, we'll know for sure when the plus 28s come in and they still haven't made an announcement. Because then I'll worry, okay? But like I said, I'm not worried at the moment because from one source I have, they're talking to other things. And the one rumor does kind of make sense because they're the guys they're talking to are saying, guys, what, well, if we take over this Turkey, we want more creative control because you let your guys run it. And like I said, Doctor Who will never truly die. Between Big Finish and everything else, it's going to be around forever. It's going to be around long after I'm gone, okay? It's a legacy. It's one of them few things like Star Wars, Star Trek, and everything else that'll be around for people to complain about long after my bones are in there. Well, I plan on getting cremated, so it won't be my bones. But either way, long after I'm gone, it'll still be here. But, well, like I said, I agree with you, Saif. I think they're going to sit back and wait till the plus 28s before they actually announce anything. But I know I do miss at times when they got darker. And look at what happened when Shooty did go nuts on that guy. Everybody's like, the Doctor wouldn't do that. Hello? Have you been watching the same show? Trust me. Family of Blood? Anybody? Or remember at the end of Dinosaurs on a Spaceship where the Doctor left Solomon to get blowed up? That's just a couple that are right off the top of my head. So no, it wasn't beyond belief. But oh well, it's closing up on time and I got to get inside. So yeah, reminder, next week, well, we will not be in the parking lot next week, okay? Because I'm going to be off all next week. I'm going to be off on vacation, so I'll try to pop in on you every day or so, every now and then, and see, I'll let you know if I hear anything. But yeah, Doctor Who's never actually going to die. The show will probably go on hiatus. Hopefully it'll be a short one, but you never know. All right, take care, everyone. I got to run inside, get to work, so be kind, be calm, be safe, and we will hopefully see you all again tomorrow morning. Take care.